Welcome to Gapology Radio with your hosts, Mark Tinas and Brian Brockhoff. This is your podcast covering tactics for creating winning leadership and sustainable winning organizations. Discover more information detailed in their books, Gapology, Imbar, and their newest release, Speed of Purpose. We can be reached at gapology.org, and our books can be found at amazon.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Gapology Radio. We're really excited about the response that we've been receiving from our appearance on the Relatively Speaking live stream show over the Labor Day weekend. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, well, don't worry, I'll include a link below. Mark and I share some exciting news on the show that you really don't want to miss if you're a fan of Gapology. So let's get rolling with this episode and give Martinez a call.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing good. What's new?
Oh, working like crazy.
Yeah. It's been busy.
A lot. Yeah, it's been a good season. Summer's coming to an end.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's actually going to start cooling down next week here, which will be a nice break. It's been so hot and muggy here, and I know some parts of the country have been way worse. So I think we'll all be rejoicing once those leaves start to fall.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the temperature drop. It's going to be in the 70s here this weekend.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, cool. So what would you like to talk about today?
Well, I thought we would talk about building relationships in a Zoom world. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I know it's pretty difficult when people are far away.
Yeah. We need to continue our Zoom world conversations, and building relationships is one of the victims, really, of the Zoom world. It's tough. But I had the great opportunity to interview a few top performers in this, and I have their best tactics right here in front of me.
Oh, cool. I haven't heard these. Exciting.
Yeah. All right, let's jump in.
Sounds good.
So the first thing is that you got to realize that the Zoom world, being remote, communicating with your team and or partners via video instead of in person, is already a factor that makes it more difficult to build relationships. So once you accept that, then you can apply these tactics to make it work. So the first one is real simple, and that is to increase communication. Increase communication. So often in a Zoom world, there's less communication. But what if you're to increase communication? And while doing so, what if you listened more? So often as leaders, we have a tendency, when we haven't talked to somebody for a while, to speak a lot. I think that's natural. But what if we listened more? So the first tactic is to increase communication on purpose and listen more. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that. In fact, I just had a meeting just yesterday, and we were talking about something very similar to this. And the manager was talking about that, sometimes it's difficult to get people to open up during a coaching session. And part of that, I think, is this remote workforce. People are used to kind of working in a silo. And one of the things I mentioned to her was, you need to listen more. And she said, yeah, but they don't talk. And I said, so, one of the key tactics to get people to talk is to ask a question, right? So it goes back to one of our topics on a previous podcast about asking questions. I think that's a key to that tactic.
Yeah, and there's some complications too. So in the county that I work in, most frequently, when there's multiple people in the room, we have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
So now we're in the Zoom world and we're on a mask. We're in a mask. And that just makes communication more difficult. So increase communication and listen more.
Yeah, love it.
Second tactic is to schedule one-on-ones. So you've got this group Zoom meeting, but there's a number of key people that you need to communicate with more frequently and in a different way. Go ahead and schedule those one-on-ones. And those one-on-ones become critical now. So again, apply the listening tactic, but don't just limit yourself to the group Zoom, schedule those one-on-ones, and ideally, again, on video if you can, so that you can read body language and relate better. But it becomes a key tactic in addition to the group calls.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a key tactic there too is to make sure the person's prepared, or at least prepared around the subject that's to be discussed. I've been involved in one-on-ones where the person on the other end didn't know what the topic was, and so we kind of caught them off guard. So I think there's a balance there on making sure that you're covering information and gathering information from somebody who's educated about what the topic is.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, a random call may not be productive.
Yep.
So here's a tactic from one of the top performers that I interviewed. Top performer within the entire organization added this one. She said that one of her key tactics is to add in personal calls. So not a one-on-one about business topics, a personal call. A personal call where you get to know the family, the kids, the pets, the hobbies, and talk about things outside of work. So she found that was the key to building relationships. It was getting away from work topics, and really not only learning the personal things about that individual, but sharing your own personal details as well. And that changed everything.
Yeah, I never really thought about that. Yeah, that's really cool. I think that just shows that you care about them more than just business. And if you're trying to build a culture within a team, I think that would go a long way, just reaching out, just touching base with that person as an individual.
Yeah, this individual, again, this top performer, has 12 people that are key partners. They are thousands of miles away, so they communicate via Zoom. But by getting to know each of the 12 individually, total game changer.
Yeah, I love that. So does she call each person individually, each of those 12?
Yeah. So She spreads it out and calls a couple per week and has personal calls unrelated to work.
Yeah, and just think about what you learn about people that way. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I can see how that would work.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. All right, here they come, some more good ones. So this one is another tactic from the top performer. So one of the key tactics was to create within the work metrics a team goal. So no competition. We set a number for everyone to work towards, and it becomes a team goal, one metric. Bringing the team together, teaching the team to share, having them have conversations, but having a team goal. So they set this number for the entire team to achieve. Again, it was not about anybody's individual numbers. For once, it was about this one number for the group, and they had a prize at the end of it. And I'll let you comment on it, and then I'll tell you about the prize.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's great. One of the questions I get asked a lot when we're training the action gap under Gapology is around accountability. And the question usually is, how do you create accountability? And I think establishing something like this, where you have a team goal, that creates that self-accountability and team accountability, where you feel accountable to the rest of the people on your team. I think doing something like that really takes it beyond just the normal setting expectations and following up and those kinds of things. It takes it beyond that, where the person is really invested in achieving those goals.
And ideally, it causes communication amongst the team. People calling each other and saying, "Hey, have you tried this? Have you tried this? It's working." So everybody working together towards this one number really creates an interesting dynamic. So here was the prize. And they achieved the number. In fact, they blew the number away. Everybody, all the 12 people got in the mail a mixology kit.
What's that?
It's a kit for making mixed drinks.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
No, it's amazing.
That would be awesome. Oh my gosh.
So then,
wow.
This is the awesome part. Wait till you hear this. So then they have a Zoom call in the evening. Everyone's got their mixology kit, and they hired a mixologist who's on the Zoom who teaches everybody all these different mixed drinks with the kit they have.
Oh, how
was
cool.
So much fun. It rated as the greatest event they'd ever had.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a Zoom call.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot better than just going bowling.
When you can't go bowling.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, how cool is that? So the bartender, it was an actual bartender person that was trained?
Yeah. There's actual mixologists who will come on your Zoom and teach how to make drinks.
That is so cool.
And
wow.
It was such a team building event on a Zoom call.
Yeah, we need to do that, me and you.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, we're talking about a top performer, number one in the organization. Think about that. That's a key tactic.
Yeah.
So now everybody has that.
Super creative.
I would have never thought of it.
No, never.
So pretty amazing.
Yeah, really cool.
Okay. Same top performer, number one in the organization. They and this is about creating teamwork. So part of the challenge with the Zoom world is how do you create team? So they set a fitness challenge. They bought Fitbits for everyone on the team, shipped them to them, and they had a Fitbit number that they were all trying to achieve, and they had a team fitness challenge. Okay. And it was an incredible team building event again, where people were sharing, they were sharing their numbers, they were excited, and people got better. People got more fit. People learned from each other. Mm-hmm. And it was, again, these aren't overlapping things, they're separate, but they create a team to where suddenly a work problem is nothing. It's no big deal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, that's great. Wow.
So I love the Fitbit idea.
Yeah, that is a cool idea. It's, a healthy way to do it, maybe to offset the mixology, but I think that's really neat. Yeah.
Yeah, the mixology thing is not every night. It's right. this one special night.
Right. Not every night like I do.
Do it every night.
Right. Yeah. Man, she's super creative.
So I was then advised that by another top performer that when you are in person, so if you have limited ability to be in person, but suddenly we're going to get together as a team for the first time in a while, to go ahead and do an event. Make it special. Have a dinner, have a bowling night, to your point. Do something fun. Go ahead and do it. Because the time we get together, physically together, is very limited. So I like that tactic. It's simple, and it's something to think about.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think making it an event is important. It shows that it is important to be together when you can, to leverage all the technology and Zoom and stuff when you can't, but when you are together, really to make that time special and meaningful. I love that idea. And especially if you're, coming together to do like a meeting or something where there's some work, important work to be discussed and that kind of thing, to tie it into an activity that just shows that you do care about them as individuals as well.
Yeah, and again, so since we have such limited time together, to go ahead and do something fun and special, really makes it memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. All right, the last one I have is another top performer told me that with the team that's on the Zoom screen, whom they don't get to see in person, who they don't get to interact with in person, that they send them handwritten notes for specific things that they've done for them. So they mail them to them. And I think that's a big deal. I think when a handwritten note comes in the mail and you open it up, it becomes this, lasting thing. It's a lost art.
Yeah.
And it's very meaningful. So it sort of seals the relationship.
Right.
When you have that. So I love that tactic. It's so different, and again, it's so personal, and it just is so different than a Zoom call that it changes the relationship.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of the rest of the world today. Everything is so digitized. Everything's so quick. Texting. People don't even text thank you anymore. It's just THX, right? It's more meaningful to get something that somebody sat down with a pen and a piece of paper, wrote it out, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, went to the mailbox. I mean, that's a whole thing. It's a whole process that the same message could have been delivered over text or in an email, but it shows that person really cared enough to do that. I love that idea.
Well, no, that's a great point. So I wonder what the lasting value of a text is versus the lasting value of a handwritten note. I wonder if the handwritten note doesn't have a lasting value that's 10,000 times longer than the text.
Right. And just
think about it.
Yeah, and think about some of the younger people today, millennials, Gen Z, have they ever received a handwritten note? Something like that. They may not have ever, so they're used to receiving a text or whatever, but to get something in the mail addressed to them with a stamp on it, I think would send an entirely different message behind what was written.
It's not like it's a birthday card.
Right.
It's different. You and I did a workshop once, and we asked the group, how many of you have ever received a standing ovation? Mm-hmm. And no one had ever received a standing ovation. I wonder, based on what you just said, how many millennials have ever received a handwritten note thanking them for a specific behavior that they did.
Yeah, be interesting.
It's a total game changer, and it's so simple.
Right.
You do have to find a way you have to find stamps somewhere. They're hard to find, but they are. Total game changer.
Yeah.
So I hope those of you listening to us took notes on this. Each of these will work. You can tailor them to your own environment. And we, stole a few from the top performer in a major organization. So you can thank us for that. But go for it. What do you have in closing, Brian?
Yeah, just to maybe switch the topic slightly, I just want to give a little teaser for next week's podcast. So we're going to have two special guests joining us on our podcast that we were very fortunate to be able to be interviewed by them a couple weeks ago. And we shared some fun news with the viewers during that live stream. And so next Tuesday, we're going to have them on our show. So everybody listening to this, just make sure to mark your calendars, and you'll get to hear that next week.
Is it a surprise as to who they are?
I don't know. What do you think? Think we should share?
I think I would share.
Okay, go right ahead.
So we're going to have the two newest members of the Gapology team, Judy Shulak and Sarah Shulak, join us on the podcast. So we're thrilled about that. Judy was the former president of Buffalo Wild Wings, and Sarah is her brilliant sidekick. And we'll just leave it at that. And they're incredible. You'll love them, and that's what I would add. What else do you have?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. These are two amazing people. The first call that we had with them, I was blown away. The energy, the different way of looking at things, having that little bit of diversity on our team, I think is going to be just huge for us individually, but also for our organization and any of our clients that we support. So I'm very excited to have them on the show next week.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, Mark. Well, this was a good show.
Yeah, good stuff. I hope everybody took notes. This stuff will work. We'd love your feedback. make it happen.
Sounds good. Okay, we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, bye-bye. All right, that'll do it from here. If you'd like to learn more about any of our books, our workshops, or our personal coaching, head on over to our website, gapology.org. Everybody have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you soon.
This has been a Gapology production. Visit us at gapology.org.